All right, guys, welcome back. We're going to be going over my weekly check-in photos with my coach today, as well as doing a full day of eating with a cheat meal at the end because it's a high carb day. The meals are actually already pre-recorded and I've already eaten all that food because for me it's the next day, but for you guys it'll be today. So here's the check-in photos. I apologize in advance for the noise in the background. Again, I live in Nicaragua right now and this is just the way it is. People are always working on their houses. I haven't talked about this yet. I'll talk about it in another video, but next week I'm actually going to be moving back to the US, so this won't be a problem anymore. I want to take bodybuilding more seriously, and I need better access to gyms and food and supplements, and eventually there's going to be certain gear involved, obviously, if I'm going to be competing. So all those things are better off for me in the United States. I'll talk about that more in another video, but for now let's talk about the check-in photos. So as you can see, obviously I'm small, but I'm super lean here. I got the side tricep pose. You can see some separation between my quads and hamstrings. My obliques are popping. My serratus is out. My abs are lean. Tricep and forearm, everything is just super lean. I'm not the greatest at posing. I don't have much experience with that, but I did have a friend who competes who is turning pro soon, hopefully for him. He shared a PDF document with me that gave me like a whole bunch of tips on posing, so I'm gonna start practicing those some more. And yeah, middle photo, you can see some great quad separation there. I'm getting some lower abs popping out. And the rear lat spread, I've got some separation, but there's just not that much detail. But from going over this with some people who I trust and my coach, we're under the assumption that it's not really so much about body fat here, but it's just a lack of back development. Again, I'm only 161.6 pounds, so rather than continuing to try and cut down even more and just eventually burning away so much muscle, what we're going to focus on is building more soon. And that's where I'll give a bit of a spoiler alert here. It's already been a day since I gave these check-in photos to my coach, and he has given me the green light to start my rebound protocol next week. So I've got 6 more days of dieting now, and then we're going to jump straight into a growth phase. I'll talk more about that in the next video because that's not really the point of this one. But I'm super excited about that because I've been starving for 15 weeks and I just want to fucking grow, man. I'm 161 pounds. So I guess now we can jump into the full day of eating. So if you take a look at my macros, you'll see that the protein is only 30 grams a meal today instead of 40 grams like the other days. And the fats are removed from the equation altogether. The added fats, that is. There's obviously going to be some fats from the protein sources and whatnot, but the reason my coach does that isn't so much because protein and fats matter in some significant way on a high carb day. It's more just that the goal with the high carb day is to replenish glycogen stores, and we really want to slam down those carbs and fill back out. And there's only so many calories, there's only so much room that there is in order to add those carbs. So in order to make a little bit more room, we just kind of remove some unnecessary stuff like extra protein and fats because you really only need so much of those. And that's why the 30 grams of protein per meal, and that's why the 0 grams of added fats per meal. So with the carbs, we've got 125 grams per meal, meals 1 through 3, and then the pre and post workout meal, 135 grams of carbs. So I'm allowed to have up to half of these carbs in every single meal from sugary sources, and these can be fruit, these can be bagels, this could even be Twizzlers. It's basically anything that has less than 3 grams of fat per serving. So with the 135 gram meals, that means 67.5 grams would have to come from the normal carb source. And with the meals 1 through 3, 62.5 grams would have to come from the normal carb source. Rather than worrying so much about calculating this exact number, what I do is I just make sure that I get 75 grams in meals 1 and 2 and in the pre and post workout meal from my normal carb source, which is going to be oats or rice. And then meal 3 or meal 5 for me, the last meal of the day, is going to be a cheat meal. So with this, I'm only focused on meals 1 through 4. So meal 1, what I did was 7 egg whites and 1 whole egg for my protein. And with the carbs, I got 75 grams of those from oatmeal. I added some fruits for the sugary carb source, 50 grams of fruit. And with meal 2 and the pre and post workout meal, They're basically all pretty similar, so I'm not going to bother going through like cooking each one or talking about them all specifically. I got 75 grams in each of those meals from brown rice, and I did 50 grams or 60 grams of fruit, depending on which meal it was, for the sugary source. And then for the cheat meal, I had some tacos, which I recorded separately, so I am going to pull that up right now. All right, I'm finally ready for my cheat meal after a 3-hour nap. After I hit legs and had my post-workout meal, I just crashed on the bed for a few hours. I don't think I actually fell asleep, but it was nice to lay down for a little bit. So we're gonna be having tacos or fajitas, whatever you wanna call them. I don't know if there's actually a difference between soft tacos and fajitas. But does anybody go into a restaurant and say, I want 3 hard tacos and 3 fajitas? Is there a difference in the soft tacos and fajitas? Or I don't know, but we got 6 flour tortillas. They're not special, low carb or anything. They're just normal tortillas. 40 grams of onion, 8 ounces of 95% lean ground beef, 40 grams of cheddar cheese, some refried beans, and some hot sauce. So I'm gonna start prepping all this and then I'm gonna throw it down. All right, meat's cooked, beans are cooked. What I like to do is take my tortillas and throw them in the pan and heat up the outside so it gets a little bit crispy. So I'm gonna toss these in a pan real quick. Nice and crispy and warm. Spread some refried beans on there. Throw in some meat, a little bit of cheddar cheese, and some hot sauce. Been waiting all week for this. All right, so that's the cheat meal. I got 6 of these total. I'm gonna chow down on these. Next week, the rebound starts. I'm gonna start putting on some weight. So looking forward to that because I feel very small and weak right now. It's been 16 weeks, man, 15 weeks. By the time this week is over, it's gonna be 15 weeks that I've been cutting. I'm looking forward to eating. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.